This is Billy Jack Haynes. Well, you know, Devin, as far as shoots go, I've done enough of them. You're the best. What can I say? Hannibal, you're the best of the best. As far as shoots go, what can I say?
I understand you also had a match as Mr. X against Billy Jack Haynes, who I've done a few interviews with. How was he to work with in the ring and behind the scenes?
Billy Jack, to me, was a great athlete. He was a good guy. He was good to work with. I mean, he was patient. When you're an enhancement talent, you work with so many different personalities, as you say, that you have to adapt to. They have different likes and dislikes. They have things that they don't want you to do, and they don't want you to expect them to do. So what you do is work the best you can and listen to the person you're working with. And Billy, he was as were most of the guys, very patient and never that I know of ever hurt anybody. And he was a good talent. I think they may have missed not pushing him as much as he could have been.
Billy told us this story about his backstage altercation with Iron Mike Sharp. Were you working on that show when that happened?
No, I wasn't there. No, I didn't even. In fact, I heard it.
Well, I never had any problems with him, and I saw him the other day, and I couldn't believe it. But I remember him beating up Iron Mike Sharp, but I wasn't there. But it was somewhere, and Iron Mike just used to throw these stiff overarm things at the chest, and Billy Jack Haynes followed him back to the dressing room, and I wasn't there once again, but I heard he just beat him up bad. And Iron Mike Sharp is the nicest guy in the world. I heard that, and that made me hate Billy Jack Haynes.
Billy Jack Haynes brother come to Florida when Florida was still the NWA down there, and I was on the lawsuit with him, and we talked later in the years, but brother, they was not a meaner, tougher guy ever come down the pike. Billy Jack Haynes. He God, and strong, so strong. So I mean, it's unbelievable. But one of the stories about Billy Jack was we're in a spot show. It may have been Atlanta TV. I mean, a sportatorium in Tampa. We walk in and the dressing, we put our bags down. Me and Bass, JJ's already there, but me and Bass walk in. We put our bags down, and boy, something ain't right. Well, we keep hearing. We open there's another little dressing room. It's like two dressing rooms right side by side, but they're kind of baby face over here. And Billy Jack is in there pounding, beating the piss out of Barry Windham, Yellow Dog. At the time, he was Barry Windham and Yellow Dog. And I said to myself, man, Jake, I said, Bass, you know Mulligan's fixing to hit that door. Mulligan is going to rip. Mulligan was tough. I mean, mean, tough. Going down the road, just jump on a damn bull standing out in the field, trying to tip him over. But they just pounding Barry's butt, boy. Mulligan walks in there, puts his back down, said a damn word. Billy kept pow. said something, it was over with. And Mulligan did the deck that, how you doing? Or kiss my ass, go to, anything. But he, Billy, and I got to know him a little bit better than I mean, he didn't hurt you in the ring. I was in his that full Nelson thing he done 100 times. I probably wrestled him 200 or 300 times. He you don't want to mess with, you didn't want to mess with that boy. He will hurt you. He'll mess you up.
Billy, when he came to Florida, the funny thing was, he was supposed to be there at a taping, we'll say, the 7th of January. Well, he didn't come. And all the shows, we were getting phone calls, I'm almost there, I'm almost there, I'm almost there. And we're saying, he's coming, he's coming. And he didn't show up until the show was over. In some way, I think that was kind of like a shot in the arm. He was such a big celebrity before he even got there. And then when he got there the following week, he got over like gangbusters. Dusty put him with himself, and he got over, and they put him with me for a little angle. And we were in the Sun Dome, and there was Native Americans there because Billy claimed he was part Native American, and they gave him a statue. And when they gave him the statue, I said, Miles will use it, and I grabbed it. And I whacked him, and he got blood, and we had a great match. Most guys probably would have been pissed, but I enjoyed working with Billy. If you had asked, I mean, he was on the cover of all the magazines back then. If you had asked me when that was going on, I would have said Billy's going to be a huge star for a long time. I think he made a lot of decisions that he probably looks back at and says, which we all do, maybe I shouldn't have done that. He was really over in Florida. And then he gave his notice and went to Texas. And then he became like a surrogate Von Erich. And then something happened there. He left. Then he went back to Portland to Don Owens' territory. And Don had always taken care of him. He opened the gym, and then he ran opposition.
Now, I didn't know much about Black Blood until I actually interviewed Billy Jack Haynes. And when I looked up Black Blood, I was a bigger fan of Black Blood than I ever was of Billy Jack Haynes. Was there actual plans to go somewhere with that?
Yes.
I know he was injured. Can you discuss, was that your idea to bring him in for that?
No, it was a funny thing. Did he tell you the story how he got into the meeting with Dusty?
He was a little all over the place.
Well, he had left Dusty in Florida. I don't know if he gave a notice or not, but he just disappeared. And he knew he had heat with Dusty. So to get to Dusty's office, Janie Ingalls had an office in front of his. He dressed up as Black Blood, walked into the office, and crawled like a reptile on his belly under Janie's desk where she didn't see him, and popped up to Dusty. And Dusty said, anybody that has that much cojones, I'm going to use them. So
that's the funniest thing ever.
And that's Billy, right? You know that's what happened. It isn't made up. And they were going to push Billy, and then all of a sudden, you said there was an injury. There might have been an injury, but again, he just disappeared. And he was going to be in a very big program. And he was going to go to, first it was going to be Barry, and then it was going to be Dusty. So, I mean, I always got along with Billy.
And it worked.
Does he wear a blonde wig now?
No, that's his real hair.
That's his hair?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So regarding Black Blood, when I watched Billy Jack Haynes finish for that move, which he told me he invented later on, I could see how you could blow out a knee doing that, 280 pounds, jumping down on your knees every night from the top rope. To your recollection, was that why he left WCW? Was a knee injury?
Not that, to my recollection, wasn't. I mean, he was there and then he wasn't. I mean, if his knee blew up, we had doctors there. At that time, we had a surgeon that came to the matches, so especially in center stage. So I don't remember that.
He was saying that it happened in Philadelphia.
I don't think so.
Did you enjoy managing him? You were also managing.
Yes, I did enjoy managing him because Billy was an intense individual as you are. And I think that's somewhat lacking in the wrestling business because I enjoy that kind of intensity because it translates to the ring, which translates to box office.
Billy Jack Haynes and Mike Sharp. I don't know if you...
That was in Detroit, Michigan. And I was on that card too. That was at the, was it either Cobo? I don't know if it was the Joe Louis or the Cobo Arena downtown, because they were both down there. Because we had several places around Detroit. We worked there. We worked those two things. We worked Auburn Hills when that come up later. And of course, way out there, Pontiac was where the Silverdome was.
Yeah.
I never did get that. I always liked Billy tremendously. I got along with Billy. Mike Sharp was just a wonderful guy. You know, idiosyncrasies, you know, the cleaning thing he had. I mean, he'd get locked in the arena. He'd be working out in the shower, and they'd turn the dogs loose on him and stuff because while everybody's gone, he's back in there working out and trying to do the old Johnny Valentine thing where they work out with a hot shower. He's a working out guy. But apparently, you know, and Mike was a little stiff. You know, he wore that black. He's a Canadian guy, right? You know?
Yeah,
he wore that black thing on his forearm here, and he liked to bend you over, and he liked to just lay him in. Well, my deal when I work with him, I let him bend him over, but I wouldn't leave my neck out there like a turkey, because he would turn the lights out on you. I'd trap up on him, you know, so he wouldn't just disconnect me. And I kind of liked it. And, you know, he'd lay them big punches. Apparently, he'd lay them in on Billy too hard. And I don't know if there was a little something between them or Mike felt something. But anyway, Billy was mad. And they got back in the dressing room. And, boy, he teed off on Mike Sharp. And Mike Sharp was pretty defenseless because Billy could box a little bit.
Yeah.
Really box. And he beat him up pretty good. Buddied him up, but it wasn't. I'm just glad I don't have those things that I have to live with that I did. I'm sorry, man, I did that. I wish I hadn't did that. You know, and we all got things in our lives that we kind of would like to have a do-over. But I'm just glad in this business, you don't probably ever hear too many things about that with me because I wasn't that kind of guy.
Billy Jack Haynes is a popular guest on this show. Did you ever cross paths with him in Portland?
Yeah, I almost had to fight him one time. But thank God we didn't have to fight. Me and Billy get along really well. Like, because Billy, I guess, is, you know, I always got along well with the people who got in trouble. Like, you know, like the people who were colored outside the lines. And then one day Art Barr ribbed him and pinned it on me. And Billy Jack's like, we got to talk. And I'm like, no, I forget exactly how it went, but then I had to go wrestle. And so I was shitting my pants wrestling because I had to wrestle, just trying to get through the match, trying to remember it. Because I knew I had to go talk, you know, fight, you know, possibly fight Billy Jack afterwards. And then I went up to him. I said, hey, listen, I said, I didn't rib you, you know, I go, but look, if you want to fight, I'll fight you. I mean, you're going to kick my ass. I mean, that's obvious, but I will fight you just, you know, out of honor. But I mean, I didn't do it. And he believed me, and we were always good buddies after that.
Was he really a cocaine dealer? Because he's self-professed.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I would tend to believe the adventures he had.
What about, have you seen any of these videos that he alleges he was involved in the Boys on the Track murders in Arkansas?
No, I haven't seen that.
I was not there to see Iron Mike Sharp and Billy Jack Haynes, which was what I understand was a deadly fight where Billy.
Can you tell us about that?
I only have secondhand information where Billy Jack and Iron Mike Sharp, something happened, and Mike Sharp had rubbed Billy Jack the wrong way, and Billy was a short fuse anyway, short time bomb, and Billy just started. They got into it, and one punch was thrown, and then and Iron Mike Sharp was a tough guy, but Billy Jack was tougher at that night, that day in the locker room, and from what I understand, he beat him up really bad.
Any memories of Billy Jack Haynes?
Yeah, well, when Billy Jack Haynes and I became a tag team combo, I didn't realize, but Billy was kind of messed up on drugs, and I didn't realize. I really sincerely didn't realize how bad it was, and because he never led on to me, and so because tag team partners, we'd share a room. We're on the road every night for like 15, 20 days at a time. We'd check in, throw our bags in the room and stuff. I'd wake up 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Billy's gone. He was gone every night. He was never there. And I always asked Billy, I said, where do you go at night? Oh, I'll just go around. I got girlfriends here, girlfriends there. Well, he was buying drugs.
This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com. I am at the ESS promotions table with Billy Jack Haynes, who is going to be appearing at the CWF Legends Fan Fest in June, along with Ricky Steamboat, Bob Roop, Larry Zabisco, David Penzer's going to be there. CWF Legends Fan Fest on Facebook is where you can find that. How's WrestleMania weekend been for you today?
It's been going really good, and I've been checking up on you, man. Hannibal, you're the best of the best right now as far as YouTubes and shoots. You're the best. What can I say? I've done enough of them.
I've seen some of your shoots actually. They're interesting.
Thank you, sir.
How's everything going with you personally?
It could be going better. Could always be going better, but the way I look at life is one day at a time. If you look at any further than that or worry about anything, don't worry about nothing, because nothing's going to be all right. You were a tough guy, man. You were a gold medalist, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a national champion, both grappling and amateur wrestling. I know you were known for being a tough guy too. Any stories from Florida, the CWF days, since your appearance is coming up in Lutz, Florida?
No, not really. It's just, my days basically, I exposed myself as being a cocaine dealer, which I was. I'm not proud of that. And I was a former paid sparring partner, Jerry Corey, Ken Norton, Ron Lyle. It's way before your time. But like I said, man, you're
full of stories, aren't you?
Oh, well, some people could say full of shit. But, I don't think I am. Or you think I am?
I believe there's some truth to some of the stuff you say, yeah. But I don't know about everything.
Well, I don't really care what you think. And that's the way you want to look at it.
Well, so let's talk about this Florida thing. David Penzer's running this. How do you know David Penzer?
David Penzer, I met in Florida back in 1984, I believe it was. I might be wrong on that. I don't want to be quoted as 30 years. It seems to be a year that I've been quoted on for a few things in the past that could have got me life in prison without parole. And it seems I've got around that. Hannibal, going into it probably would not be a good idea.
No. Yeah, I've heard a lot of your stories, and I find that some of them take away the credibility of some of the legitimate stuff out there, because some of your stories are really exaggerated. And for instance, there is some truth to the Pat Patterson stuff, but then you go overboard a lot of the times, I find. But I wish you the best. I hope you do well.
Wait a minute. What do you mean going overboard?
Were you ever in the WWF? Did you ever have to see you go 330 nights a year on the road?
No, I've only had matches for them, unfortunately. Actually, we do have some in common. I had my contract taken away due to hepatitis C. You actually also contracted it from wrestling, I understand. So that's unfortunate. And I really hope that you get on some medication for that. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, hey, you know, what do you mean get on medication?
Well, maybe maybe it's not just that type of medication you need. I don't know.
Well, so you're trying to, you know, I came here with good intentions to give you an interview, out of respect.
I'm here to promote the CWF Fan Fest for a couple friends of mine.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're here to belittle me. That's what it sounds like. I need medication for this and that. So what is it? You're here to promote the Fan Fest or my medication?
I'm here to promote the Fan Fest, June 15th in Lutz, Florida. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know. I'm not from Florida. Let's go into the Fan Fest, okay? What's your favorite memory of Florida?
The fans were great. That's why they call it the Fan Fest. The Florida fans of wrestling are probably the most knowledgeable in pro wrestling, you know? But
we do have a common friend, actually, from Florida, Jeanie Clarke, who you were married to, and eventually Austin married her.
Yeah. What's your friendship with her?
I've interviewed her, and we're just Facebook friends, but I find she's a nice lady.
Yeah, very nice lady, you know? But see, Stone Cold Steve Austin hasn't got no balls. He likes to...
I'm not. We're gonna actually cut this because I'm friends with Austin. You know what? We're cutting this. We're cutting.
I said.
Okay, June the 15th in Lutz, Florida. Okay, I'm not here to do anything but promote that, so we're just gonna end it at that. Bye. I do have to ask you this, and just because you saw that thing I did with Billy Jack Haynes back at WrestleMania weekend, and I can cut this out if you don't want to answer this, but you didn't make any mention of it in the book. Billy Jack Haynes was saying, "Oh, Steve Austin, he's a wife beater. He had my ex-wife after me." Obviously, you guys didn't get along, and there were some emotional issues, but you never had any issue like that with Steve, did you?
No, Steve. No, I don't believe Steve's violent towards women or a wife beater. He never ever hit me. Just make that clear.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Billy Jack and Steve must have come out after my book, because my book was 2016, and I don't have any recollection of there being any, you know, till like after the fact. But no, I've never found Steve to be violent at all. Not once.
So that's just Billy Jack, I guess, maybe a little bit of jealousy that even though you guys broke up amicably,
I
right?
think the wife beater was referring to Deborah, because that's the only time I've heard.
But he was never actually, nothing ever came of those accusations formally. Like, those accusations were made, but there was never any actual court situation over those accusations.
But with Deborah and Steve.
Yeah.
No, I think she dropped the case